Welcome to Bigfoot Whispers Hub. Robin Hyatt here. I'm going to be doing a channeling session, or try to. And I have the window open because it's 60 degrees here in Idaho. So if you hear this sound, there are cars going by. And I apologize for that. I want to talk to you first before we channel. That I know you saw the orbs in my video the other night, the 2 orb sessions, and this was after I did a lot of studying on these nuns in Poland and what they went through in World War II. So I want to give you a little bit of history about these nuns in Poland. I'm going to talk about 2 separate sets of nuns. Now, I'm going to talk about one set, and then I'm going to talk about the other set, which I think I'm related to. So during World War II, Polish nuns in one segment offered their lives so others might live. These nuns, in 1942, the Nazis invaded a small town and I don't even know how to say it, Nowogrodek, which had a mixed population of Poles, Jews, and Russians. They quickly began to hold the Nazis quickly began to hold mass executions in town, rounding up anyone who was not sympathetic to their viewpoints. Yet in the midst of all the suffering, there was a single priest remaining, who would offer daily mass, and a small group of religious women who prayed to God for liberation. In 1943, the Nazis rounded up another group of 120 prisoners, and it was their intent to kill them all. Sister Superior Maria Stella said to the local priest, "My God, if sacrifice of life is needed, let them kill us, the nuns, and not those who have families. We are even praying for that." Amazing, isn't it? And so surprisingly, the prisoners were not killed, and all of them survived to the conclusion of World War II. However, the Nazis chose instead Sister Maria Stella and 10 sisters and took them to the forest where they were murdered. And this I saw very vividly. This is kind of the segment that I saw. So then in 2000, St. John Paul II praised them. He did a witness for Jesus Christ for them, in praising them for their sacrificing their lives for these other men, prisoners that had children. And he said, "There's no greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friend. Yes, there is no greater love than this, to be ready to lay down one's life for one's brother and sister. We thank you, O blessed martyrs of this town, for your witness of love, your example of Christian heroism, and for your trust in the power of the Holy Ghost." So that was pretty amazing. Now, there's another segment that these nuns were killed in Poland. This was after the Nazis had left and the Red Army came in, which is the Soviets. Now, the Red Army came in 2 waves. The first wave was more contained, and then left. And then the second wave came into Poland, which were mass murderers and rapists. And so if you're 8 to, I think they said 8 to 20, you were more than likely to be raped, for sure. They also said in the Soviet Union, they gave the okay for these type of soldiers to come into Poland, and they wanted to, they gave them free reign to execute or to rape, and they wanted to desecrate a lot of the religion and Catholic churches. They went and pillaged the churches, and they basically went to the nunneries and raped all the nuns and killed them. Some of them. So there was a group of nuns that were in from the Order of St. Catherine of Alexandria. They worked in a hospital in Olsztyn. I can't say these words because they're Polish. In the town of Orneta. Um, there was just a small group. I think there's 8 to 14. These nuns were serving as nurses, and they were serving as helping people on the aftermath of war and to bury the dead. And so they were just complete service. There was a head nun, Marta Klomfoss, from I believe she's from Europe, and she was serving as kind of the head nun. And they called her Sister Christophora, and it's called Christophora. Maria Christophora was her name. She was the kind of the head nun of all these ladies. Well, the Red Army came in, and they came to the hospital, and they invaded the hospital in 1945, or towards the end of 44, I'm not sure. And they seized it, and they took these nuns, and they did horrible things to these nuns. One of the nuns was locked in the attic. I don't know if they ever let her out. And most of the nuns fought for their chastity, because that's how they're taught, that they're willing to give their lives to keep, what's pure to them, if they could. So this sister, Christophora, I'm going to kind of see if I can channel her. I kind of have a link to her somehow, and she was the one that was tortured the most out of these Red Army. She was a handsome woman. There's a picture of her I'm going to put up, and she was a larger woman. And she's strong, but she was kind. She had a mouth on her. She didn't let anyone. She was bossy. She got things done. She had order, but kind, in a kind way. When this army came, she really pleaded for her nuns, and so they ended up cutting out her tongue. They gouged out her eyes before her death, and then they ended up stabbing her with a bayonet 16 times all over her body and her head, all over, before they killed her. A lot of the nuns had some ill fate like that, and a lot of clergy. Any clergy that was left. They killed over a dozen women and men clergy. Even if you were a secretary of the church, they killed you. So it was a pretty bad time. The Soviet Union, Red Army, and the Nazis were both horrible, but this Red Army, there's pictures on the internet of just the horribleness. They were just rapists and murderers, these guys. They were told to do that. They gave them okay to do whatever they wanted. And so these are times that we don't know about, we don't hear about, and I just want to bring Sister Christophora forward and see if she can talk to us. I want to keep this as positive probably as possible, and talk about talk about the beauty of the sisters that she oversaw. So let's see if we can bring her forward. You'll have to give me a minute. That was beautiful, thank you. You can call me Sister Maria. Mm. Mm. I am connected to this vessel. She is quite a lovely woman. I am from Poland, not Europe. I was trained in Europe, but I am Polish. That's the language that I speak. I had a lovely life. I was dedicated to the church and to Christ. I was married to Christ. We as nuns are trained to lay down our lives for God and Christ. If we so choose that this to be happen, which it did. During the Nazi reign of war, we were able to be at peace because the Nazis left us alone. They were not to harm us. We had nothing. We were burying the dead. The children broke my heart. I was one of the nuns in the ghetto protecting the Jews. Yes, that was me. You did see me, which is you, if you understand that. I did leave the convent, but I wasn't thinking straight. I joined the underground for a while, but I came back to the convent. They got me, and they asked me to serve in a different area, quieter town, where I could give service to those in need, which is my job, my life, my dedication. And I did. I was the head nun, Sister Maria Casafrora. It was amazing. The church restructured my mind. But I was strong, stalwart, and I fought for good because Christ would want that out of me. Our nuns were good and strong and peaceful. The priests were good and strong and peaceful. The people looked to us for many things, and we were able to serve them. We were able to care for them and also bury their dead. Then in 1945, the Nazis left the town, and in come the Soviet Red Army. Dangerous. They were so dangerous. Oh, these men. They would kill anything. They had to hide the women. The women were not allowed to walk the streets. And the men took their own lives in walking the streets just to go to the market. Most of the people in the backyards had to grow food. We were taken over by this army. We were taken over by their filth. It was evil walking the streets, coming into the homes. And they had a disdain for the Catholic Church. They finally came to us in the hospital where we cared for the sick for free. We cared for them night and day. There was not a lot of us in this hospital. We did it out of love and our dedication to Christ. We prayed always. We loved him dearly. And then evil was knocking at our door. Actually, evil walked through our door. The priests were very kind to them, offering them anything if they needed help, food, anything, just to leave us alone. We hid the nuns as much as we could. It did not matter. They came in and took over. They came in and shot the sick. They killed them. We watched. I tried not to hate them, but it was hard to keep my mouth quiet. I told the nuns to look at the floor. Never look them in the eye. Don't let them see you. It did not help. They were there to make destruction and to take us. And the men, they did not care if it was a man or woman. They just took us. I pleaded with them to leave us alone. They did not. I will not go into what happened. I fought them, and that's why I took most of the beating. There's sister and I that were the front force to accept most of the evil coming at us. Because of my mouth, my language. They told me to be silent many times, and I would not. I was not going to die quiet. Thus, they cut out my tongue with a scalpel. They laughed. I wanted to die at that time, but I did not. I lived. I will not tell you what they did next, because it is so cruel that no human should ever experience what I did. Death was welcoming for me and for the other sisters. Many of them were raped over and over, everywhere. Hundreds came through the doors. Then they killed us, which was welcoming. I speak of this now for you to understand, to protect yourselves. Death is not so bad. It is the onset of death. I fought as hard as I could. But they were stronger. The evil was stronger, stronger. For this is my death. Thus, this vessel is me. This vessel chose to have that life and death for completeness of soul. Thus, this vessel's life has been easy, and I will now release my soul to have this vessel talk to her higher self and explain to you now why we have lives past and why she had to go through such a thing. But she will never have to receive such evil in her life again, because she was pure when she died. She fought for mankind. She fought for Christ. She would not deny him. Thus he loves her so. I release her now. So now you come to the understanding of our lives in the past. Why we must go through these things. Why we choose to go through these things. Everything is choice. That was my complete life mission. To fight for right and freedom, just like all species have. I chose to give whatever I had to do, sacrifice for mankind and for my right of worship, my right of loving Christ. Even though some of the religion is misguided, much of it is, I wanted to experience a controlled religion and dedicate my life to it. Fight for it, die for it. Come to an understanding of complete evilness. Complete evilness killed my last earth life. It took me out. And it took all my love for friends out. I saw much destruction from evil to human bodies, trying to harm the soul as much as possible. But then we went and repaired, brought back the events of the evilness upon the earth. God remembers, and God sees, and He understands. He cleansed my soul. I stayed on my mission for a while to repair from that life. It was hard. It was one of the hardest ones I've had. I chose to go through an event, but I did not understand the true experience until it was at my face. It was pretty painful. It was pretty horrible. How another human being, another soul, can completely destroy a human. in that magnitude. Now this vessel, spirit, has repaired. We have brought her to a life that has not been quite sound but fulfilling. This vessel has come through the trenches of evil up to the trenches of God, the higher source, if you will. Understand, many of you, that you've chosen to go through these things for the experience, knowledge, and to help. You will understand this when you cross over. You will be praised for your good deeds, your accomplishments, and you're raising your vibration. We honor you now, for we know this is your hardest test. We love you. The God Source is mindful of you, pays attention to you, and listens to your prayers, listens to your meditations of thought. You have angels and spirits all around you, and that is why when this vessel brings forth a video of the spirits in her home, know that it is true. We were raining spirits down upon her as she came to the knowledge of her true past life and the acceptance of it and understanding of it and the horrible hardship of it. It is time for her to rest and walk in the light. She will not have to go through such a thing ever again. She will bask in light. She will communicate to you what needs to be said in love, for this is her mission now. This is her calling, and she understands it. She keeps her life pure and clean for you, so she may listen, understand, and be a vessel that we can speak through. I have chosen to come through. This is Michael, the Archangel, as I have walked with this vessel. I know her. She knows me. I was with her in many of her earth lives. I was there when she crossed over. I have been there to repair her soul, to bring her an understanding of love and protection. She is highly protected in this life. I will never let anything happen to her. It is time for her, as a true oracle of God, to speak. Listen, even if it is just one soul that can connect. It is great. Understand who you are. Understand why you're here. Bring love back into your heart. Let go of the negative and bring in the vibration of love, and you will truly be successful, and you will come to a knowledge of all these things You just have to ask. We bless you now with the strength of the highest energy. We bless you.